Rio de Janeiro, 29 January 2023. The next 5 minutes we will try to move with our model. It's not set yet, but you know, America sometimes has this kind of thing, living always in a hush. Do you have drug problems in America? With dust, I need a box to fix the house. If I have to live here or there, for sure I will need this box. It's named the database Cgqm, the box model. And inside this box we have grids as lines and columns. The division or distribution of power by departments, lines, or the responsibility to have decision distributed as columns. Misguided by trace at the responsibility and at the department crossing, we have you. We had west, the east, and the center global events frequency of distribution. Frequency of distribution magic line. We have frequency of distribution based on corruption, the value -1. We took the integrity of the environment. It was this space here, we didn't feel it until now, and we observe that this area as failure indeed is the -1 and goes like a circle inside the square. The association change the behavior on east, on west, on east, and need the conformance, which violates your cultural elements as legal application of the law. Can be according with the Constitution, can be according with your values at your society, as the common law in UK, for instance, or if I think that's in Japan. And this will change the behavior of your society, destroying your culture from the guarantee or the institutional entity that must protect the cultural development of your society. Isn't cultural destruction at your sites International Criminal Court, offering this through the independent oversight mechanism. Then we will check that the association of both by global events is scheduled with failure not properly fought or controlled, especially by the cultural destruction, which corrupts you all and puts you all at the same stimulation as collinear association. Sets this circle here can be inside the Middle East events recently on FIFA, Arabia, or something like this, or surround depending of the circumstance. The same circumstance that allow ourselves by the intent as finalism will serve the Hansel's theory on Germany to understand that if the America had the association with the criminal system to get ahead, I can recognize the complaint against America but do not apply the law or the consequence against America because it's part of the investigation confirmed equally by the law and the environment under the investigation. But I used the Klaus-Roxanne theory. I got the domain who had this kind of activity. And the third theory as an excuse, I would say, to do not apply the law since the intent as whole is presented and confirmed by the holographic business model as new ways of living again. Allow me to do this. If you did this like this, you lied at a trial, you committed another crime. Then we will check that this was the situation. I will check that the integration on center, east, and west will be boosted and will have a very promiscuous area here. This was the model that we had. We had problems on Asia. Seems a lot of them. And before, seems that we had information driven by the special type of work done at that time as financial intelligence and asset offered to the antitrust justice in the United States. Only the task force having the control of my activity could reap the intellectual asset under the development to the antitrust justice as the users of the judicial power in the United States as specific action against the trust, which is an euphemism for mafia. If you drip this to the Swiss bank, the Swiss bank can give me your names at the task force, and the America will interrupt the process, have the audit, and will put you out and suffer the consequences. If you are inside the organized crime, or for instance, on Europe, associated as independent officers, corrupted, you probably, if you do not got on trial, on court, in a proper time, suffer terrible consequences by the organized crime. We'll check that I had the distortions on Asia. It's kind of a brainstorm. This model is for February. And I could observe that the organized crime in general has always the financial purpose. And I set a model to trace this, having the ranking list as activity, and confirmed by the purchase at credit card and the location, having the instruments confirming dialogues before and after. I had the walking through as Asia, Europe, and Americas. The main driver, the USA, New York. And I will check that indeed this situation here forms kind of this area here, as financial purpose. And I could observe in the same way that I had crimes on it as white-collar crime, especially by estimative of prices on events and a lot of things, and in a very specific one, I get something like BDSM, bondage, dominance, submission, and something else. But which is the relation with this? It's related because goes inside the show business. And inside the show business, I could push this situation here. And I got the show business as something related with the porn industry. And before you be at the porn industry, you have to walk through the prostitution. And before the prostitution, you had kind of the human trafficking, the organs, and the catwalk as fashion. And we have the financial activity and the fashion. The connection here gone by the BDSM, similar to torture, and sometimes expressed as part of the show business or rituals or ritualistic things, but indeed it's a crime. And, we must now close our picture here to be properly presented. We have the financial crimes or the financial risk, special concern on white-collar crime. We have the BDSM, the contamination problem by instruments used at hurting people. And I must have my, officers here to check this. By finalism, they probably will be presented as a criminal activity. But they are not real criminals. They are officers. And in general, if I trace the negative one, and this going inside the regular area, which got to this, in some way I will be with them, or you both will be related. Understanding the distortion on the fashion and catwalk and the financial system. A lot of product and service launched here give me the idea as piracy. From New York to the globe. In the same way, the gains by this and the replacement and that will go on my investment saving cure, but to do the replacement I must have the fail, or at my liquidity money curve. To put the hot money or the weak dollars, they must have the fail. These fails, indeed, are intervals: investment saving, liquidity money, concurrent interest as fail or failure curve. Considering the failure element at the financial system, Asia, Europe, and America, USA, and observing the argument at this functional fail on fashion and catwalk lead me to piracy, I will ask you, do we have piracy associated with white-collar crime, observed or able to be observed even by hearing procedure, considering the integrated failure on public departments, for instance, area under investigation South America with one specific constitution, Brazil, and a budget having you all. The transnational organized crime observed by the law 12,850, Article 1, 2, and 3, with criminal association by corruption, public and corporate department, from the domestic level until the international level, confirming the arguments to do not apply the harassment case, despite recognizing the harassment, and equally confirming that the intent as criminal activity to steal the economic asset, confirming the economic espionage in both cases as 2 billions, and all penalties. We can have any element as piracy on fashion, for instance, the Ralph Lauren, the Calvin Klein, or the Cartier. Indeed, all got some kind of loss, especially during the intellectual construction of this model that's not set yet. In the area under observation, international observation by integrated failure on budget or budget. Can you offer this information top level at hot and junky conjuncture from the top to the bottom, considering that the not proper information is a crime or obstruction of justice? Did you equally at the top enact the order or the stimulation to do the association with the American department and push the confusion as a hoax or a default by a clandestine way, confirming the white-collar crime perpetrated by the misuse of institutional prerogatives, supported by deep web scam and fake records? And why this kind of activity couldn't be at the events Asia, based on the interconnection of organized crime caught as transnational in Brazil? Can you offer more information about the Asia case? Because I would like to, stretch my fingers, and you probably maybe won't be able to stretch all your fingers as a minor consequence of the organized crime, especially amazing. But you can accept a deal as judicial agreement and be inside the witness program, even if you are an authority, a judge, a ministry acting at the organized crime. You must pick a choice. For the organized crime, you are a corrupted authority, worth nothing. See, your object to think maybe in the next 48 hours. requesting to the judicial power having the case offer the plea bargain and the witness protection for all offenders. If not accepted, the risks go by their own choices. Have a great week.